You are Locked On Tigers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Detroit on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And away we go. How about that for 4 wins in a row for the Detroit Tigers? Welcome into a live Locked On Tigers postcast. Fired up to be with you after a Tigers win, a shutout win nonetheless, a pitcher's duel win, 1-0 over the Cleveland Guardians, an in-division win. All of the things. We're fired up to be with you. It's a live Locked On Tigers postcast. I am your host, Jake Rietma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Rietma. Thanks as always for making Locked On Tigers postcast your destination following the final out. We've got you covered. And on nights like tonight, we've got a lot to talk about. Keider Montero breaks out. Jason Benetti called it the Keider Montero belongs kind of start. It was the bullpen bringing it home, and that's now 4 wins in a row. So come one, come all. If you haven't yet, subscribe to Locked On Sports Detroit. And as always, like I said, thanks for making us your destination after every Tigers game, your first listen every day, free and available wherever you get your podcast. And of course, on YouTube, it's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is brought to you by the pros at Tax Network USA. All you got to do is go to tnusa.com/lockedon or call 1-800-549-1000. And you know what? It's never too late to resolve your tax issues with the IRS. Don't wait. Again, don't wait. Reduce your tax debt and get help from a team of licensed tax professionals. Call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. And I want to begin with the electricity in the ballpark. I felt it through the telecast. I felt like there was a buzz around this Tigers team for maybe the first time since the beginning portion of this season. We got a lot of people chiming in. We're going to get to the comments as soon as possible here on Locked On Sports Detroit on YouTube for the live show. But I just felt like it was palpable, like it was an exciting brand of baseball. And yes, it's a pitcher's duel. I happen to love a good pitcher's duel game and going back and forth. I mean, it wasn't like it was two, routinely dominant guys. It was Gavin Williams for the Cleveland Guardians and Keider Montero. And 6 1/3 for Keider Montero. 3 hits, did not allow a run, and struck out 4. Defense played really good behind him, and the bullpen brought it home. And it's not like the Tigers' bats did a ton. I mean, Riley Green got robbed a couple of times. I tweeted this out that it was ridiculous that double was reversed. I mean, just in principle alone, I know I'm going all over the place right now, but in principle alone, if the chalk moves, it's a fair ball. That's what it's the principle. I don't want to live in a world where the ball hits the chalk and it's a foul ball. And you say, oh, the replay showed that it hit a grain of sand in foul territory, thus causing the chalk. I don't care. The principle is if the chalk moves, it's a fair ball. Replay wasn't invented for those type of overturns. And I'm not going to spend too much time on it because tonight was too fun, but that was it. I wrote that down, and again, I tweeted it out, so I wanted to get that in. But Keider Montero leads this team to victory, and here I am, hand up. I was wrong because I said earlier, a couple of his starts, I said, why is Matt Manning not starting instead of Keider Montero? I said that when he pitched against the Pirates and went head-to-head with Paul Skeens. And you know what? I'm happy to admit that I was completely wrong because, again, as to steal Jason Benetti's line and to credit him with this line, this was the start where he proved he belonged in the bigs, and he was keeping hitters off balance. Again, he didn't get a ton of swing and miss, but first pitch strike, that's what was there. He was attacking hitters with those first pitch strikes, which made it a lot of fun. And like I said, the bullpen pitching in some high leverage situations, you got to give them a lot of credit. And again, I, for one, hand up, Shelby Miller comes in the 9th, and I'm thinking, oh boy, I sure hope this works out. It's Shelby Miller's first save of the season. He slams the door shut with an inning in the 9th, did not allow a run, and then Tyler Holton gets the win because he came on in relief to get the final 2 outs there in the 7th inning, pitched a flawless 8th as well. And lo and behold, this Tigers pitching staff connected on every part of their outings and led this team to victory. And despite Wenceel Perez, Wenceel's been my guy, man. I love Wenceel Perez, but what a boneheaded decision in that 8th inning. And it didn't end up costing the Tigers because they get the run, they win the game. All is well that ends well. But just the baseball principle in me was ready to throw my remote through the television when Wenceel Perez, after the leadoff double by Jake Rogers, and he rips the single. Obviously you hold Jake Rogers at third. You don't want to make the first out of the inning at home. I'm pointing out the obvious there, but Wenceel Perez tries to take the extra bag and gets thrown out at second. Oh, I could have come unglued through the television, but couple batters later, you get the Mark Canha cue shot off the end of the bat with the weird spin on it, leading to the Rocchio air, and the Tigers go ahead 1-0. So listen, this was another one of those games that you're certainly not going to draw a picture and say this was a beautiful effort from the offense by the Tigers. No, they got one run, and the pitching staff carried them to victory, led by Keider Montero. So nonetheless, though, it's a win for the Tigers, a win for the good guys, 4 in a row, and getting closer and closer to that 500 mark. Now 43-48, 20-22 at home. And those Cleveland Guardians that are high atop the AL Central without really anyone challenging them fall to 56-33. Just incredible stuff there from the Guardians. But it was interesting, and I don't know if anyone else found this kind of odd, but the MLB Twitter account out of nowhere, or X account, whatever we're calling it, put a graphic up of the, I believe it was Jose Ramirez for the Guardians, and then obviously Tarek Skubal for the Tigers. And it was the popcorn emoji saying the next 10 of the Guardians and Tigers' next 19 games are head-to-head, so the AL Central could look a whole lot different here in 3 weeks. And I'm thinking, wow, I mean, that's bold. I don't hate it. Sure, the Tigers are playing some great baseball, and apparently whoever the social media intern is over there for Major League Baseball feels the same way and thinks maybe this Tigers team can make some noise, or maybe it was just a way of saying, yeah, Cleveland's going to be even further ahead in the AL Central. But tonight's a great start. You get the and I think we're having some connectivity issues here. Hang in there with me, if you will. Connection is unstable. Hang on. Oh, we're working through it. This is like a Javi Baez at bat here. He's backed on, and then he rips that double. You're feeling good, and then he grounds into a double play the next inning. That's what this telecast or this postcast was like. It was going great, and then we hit some internet issues, but I think we are good. Everybody good in the chat? Maybe that's my cue to stop blabbing along and get right into those comments, because we've got a ton of them to get to, leading with Born Cool. Is this team getting hot? Some are saying they certainly are. 4 in a row. Gotta love that. And Christopher Munn reminds us, Kenta Maeda tomorrow. Bullpen needs to start warming up now. Hey, Christopher, let us enjoy 4 wins in a row before we start thinking about Kenta Maeda on the mound tomorrow. Javi is back. Tigers only score 1 run. Is this a coincidence? I think not. Everybody's a wise guy in the comments tonight, which is great. But yeah, I think Javi being back, you know what? Listen, the offense wasn't great today, but we're going to focus on Keider Montero and the effort from this pitching staff. Demetrius McNeil, one of the real ones in the comments. Love it when you win by a run. Hate it when you lose by a run. Take the only run. Love it. I'll be at the Tigers game Sunday, July 28th. There you go. I'll be at the Tigers game Friday against the Dodgers. So no Locked On Tigers on Friday. We'll get to more of that in a moment. Word Vango is up next. Who thought Montero doing an Olsen? Yeah, maybe he can be the guy. YouTube's user quality start by Keider Montero. Jake Rogers also called a great game, keeping Montero focused on his task. Yeah, Jake Rogers gets a lot of credit, I think, for calling a good game, and rightfully so. And, he had a bad at-bat with the runner on third and less than 2 outs early in the game. He got sawed in half, swung at a pitch that he couldn't do anything with, but does end up being the one that comes around to score after that leadoff double. So shout out to Jake Rogers there. Mark Pedro will take it. Isn't Canha hitting too high in the lineup? hasn't hit a home run since May. Yeah, I don't love, that's actually a really good point. I don't love seeing Canha in the 3-hole, given his lack of success and how bad it's been in June and July. So, but only AJ Hinch can make that decision. Tony Chasey says 4 in a row, but it's time for Baddoo to go. There has to be a better option in Toledo's outfield. Yeah, we know that happened because of Parker Meadows' injury, which I was going to wrap up with some news and notes. But I don't think Baddoo, I think as soon as Parker Meadows is back healthy, I think Baddoo goes back down. So we will see on that. Johnny Browse, wow, just wow. A win is a win. Absolutely. We love the wins. And that being said, I think it just adds some confidence to this team, because you got to believe that they start feeling like they can win these games, they can win close games, and continue to push to be the team that maybe doesn't all of a sudden you have to sell at the deadline. You keep this core together. And I know that's been a lot of discussion given the valuable trade assets that the Tigers do have. But hey, 4-game win streak turns into, 7 out of 8, turns into 10 out of 12, and so on and so forth. Maybe it's a different discussion as we get closer and closer to the All-Star break, and then ultimately, of course, the trade deadline. All right, we'll continue taking some comments. I want to talk about that bullpen as well, and then look ahead to tomorrow here on a live edition of the Locked On Tigers postcast. Don't go anywhere. We continue breaking it down next on Locked On Tigers. All right, Locked On Tigers postcast is brought to you by Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's also America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. And it's the easiest way, because all you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You're not playing against a whole group of sharks. You don't have a bunch of experts. No, it's just you against the stat projections, and that's where the fun begins. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. If you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has you covered. That's right. From lowering select player stat projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. That's right. Get wild on Fridays. You can get those entry fees back if you have a losing lineup. And don't forget that just because the NBA finals are over doesn't mean the hoops action has to stop. That's right. The WNBA is heating up with stars like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, looking to make names for themselves alongside the greats like Brianna Stewart and Asia Wilson. You could win up to 100 times your cash watching them ball out. Look, I enjoy playing Prize Picks from time to time, especially when Tarek Skubel's on the mound. I'll usually pick more on the strikeout category and then combine it with maybe more on Riley Green's total bases. They've both been playing really, really well as of late. Made my first $10 deposit, and I received an instant $10 bonus. And if you have the skills, you can play for a shot at turning your $10 into $1,000. How do you like that, sports fan? All you have to do is download the Prize Picks app and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. You pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Locked On Tigers postcast is also brought to you by the tax pros at Tax Network USA. That's right. We've got you covered year-round on Locked On Sports, whether it's Locked On Tigers, Locked On Pistons, Locked On Lions, Locked On Red Wings, you name it, or any postcast after one of the games. We have you covered year-round. And you know what else is year-round? That's right, collection season. Don't let the IRS play the games with you. They don't take any time off just because tax season is over. The IRS won't stop coming after you for unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. With over 14 years of experience and an A-plus rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have complicated math, 549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. And be sure to mention $250 discount off their service. .com/lockedon or call 1-800-549-1000. All right, next up on the program, let's really dive into Keider Montero's outing because it was really, really good. And again, this was the start. You look at Keider Montero and you say, maybe this guy can be something. 6 1/3, 3 hits against a really good Cleveland lineup. You look up and down that Cleveland Guardians lineup, and there are guys in there that are competing for batting titles. There's guys that are competing for home run titles. There are a much more stacked lineup than what you see on the other side. No disrespect to our Detroit Tigers, but Jose Ramirez in the 3 hole. And even leading off, you got Steven Kwan, that's who I mentioned will be competing for a batting title. He's been so good this year. Entire list up and down. That's why one of the many reasons why the Guardians have been as good as they have been. And you got Keider Montero just mowing them down. Steven Kwan, 0 for 4. Jose Ramirez, 0. The list goes on. David Fry, he was hitless again tonight. And just a shout out to Keider Montero for shutting these guys down and really proving that maybe this guy has got what it takes to pitch at the bigs. Because you look at his game log, and it's been really good as of late against Minnesota. 6 1/3, just the 2 earned runs. His last start on July the 3rd. Before that, got roughed up a little bit against a good Phillies team. 4 1/3, 5 earned runs. Gave up the 5 hits, and then, of course, got shelled against the Pirates. So just 4 outings to choose from. 2 have been really good. The last 2 have been really good. And we talked about it. He was attacking the strike zone tonight. And that's where you felt like, hey, he's putting himself in the driver's seat to do what he can to be in control as opposed to trying to play catch up from the pitcher's mound. So loved what I saw from Keider Montero. And I think maybe he solidified himself to get a couple more starts at the big league level. All right. Other comments to get to. We got Jason Walter here. Is there a Feder for hitting? We need him. Yeah, Feder as the pitching coach has been tremendous. He seems to have the opposite effect than the hitting staff does. Whether it be, I still don't know honestly the exact breakup between the 2 hitting coaches and Keith Beauregard and Michael Berdard. I don't know who's responsible for what, and frankly, neither one of them seem to be getting the results. But at the end of the day, Feder has been so good for this team. And I got people that say make Feder the manager, and the thought of Chris Feder being our manager is kind of funny because I think he has proven that he gets the most out of his guys. And look at the impressive development we've seen from pitchers time and time again under his tutelage. That's Chris Feder as the pitching coach. That said, another really, really fun win for the Tigers tonight. Again, you could feel the energy through the TV. You could feel it in the call of Jason Benetti. It was electric at the ballpark, and just a good old-fashioned pitching duel and a pitcher's duel that the Tigers win 1-0, which makes it a lot of fun. All right, we will... Oh, yeah, good comment here. Were you concerned when Shelby Miller came out in the 9th? I sure was, and I think I said that earlier on that when Shelby Miller entered the ball game, I thought, oh boy, AJ Hinch. I hope this one goes right. So, hey, tip of the cap. I know AJ Hinch watches every show. He's a big fan of the program. So, tip of the cap, he dialed up the correct combination because we don't believe in a closer here in Detroit. We just give the pitcher the ball that's going to get the outs and give us the best opportunity to win. And that's what we saw tonight. So shout out to my guy, AJ Hinch, and the Detroit Tigers. A well-pitched ball game from start to finish and a big win over the division-leading Cleveland Guardians. All right, we'll look ahead to tomorrow. Continue taking your comments as well as we roll along on a Locked On Tigers postcast after a Tigers victory over the Cleveland Guardians. This episode of Locked On Tigers Postcast is brought to you by America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel. That's right, FanDuel.com is where you got to go for the latest odds and start cooking up those bets, those parlays. Another day, another parlay. That's what we're talking about on America's #1 sports book. And you know what? I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But hey, let's be honest, mid-July is a little bit tough. We've only got baseball, but that's all right. We got the WNBA as well. There's other things to bet on as well. We got the Copa America soccer thing going on. Admittedly, not a huge soccer guy. Doesn't mean I won't throw down on some action when it comes to soccer. I think you can bet on Wimbledon. Sure. Yeah, why not? And even if the sports aren't sportsing like they used to, FanDuel lets you keep the sports going whenever you want. All you do is open that FanDuel app, dream up bets and parlays anytime you're in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with boosts or bonus every single day. That's right, boost or bonus every single day for all customers. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long, to help us get through these dog days of summer. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most of your summer. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. FanDuel.com, that's where the magic happens. You better get there now. FanDuel.com, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. All right, appreciate everybody tuning in. This team's getting hot, and we're talking fun Detroit Tiger baseball in the middle of July. I guess July 8th, maybe technically still early July. But don't forget that Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On plus national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. With that said, Tigers win 1-0. And despite some, again, boneheaded move by Wenceel Perez, didn't love the at-bat with runner on third and less than 2 outs from Jake Rogers, but he does make up for it with that leadoff double. Javi Baez had a double in this one despite grounding into a double play. And you look up and down that lineup, 2 more hits for Wenceel Perez despite making that boneheaded move. And tough night for Riley Green. He was robbed twice. I saw a lot of chatter about, if that was a different ballpark, those were gone to be 2 home runs. Yeah, I get that. That's true. I've never been the blame the ballpark kind of guy, but Riley Green did put a charge into 2 different, 3 really, because that double too was well struck. That obviously brought up some chalk, but he was robbed a couple of different times. But Angel Martinez with probably the most impressive catch there right in front of the 412 sign. Now that said, I do think that the second out of the 9th inning, let me pull up the old play-by-play, that trusty play-by-play in the 9th inning when it jetted into the power alley in right center, or Stephen Kwan flying out to right. I mean, that's a pretty well-hit ball that might be out of some park. So when we get the whole, and I know it doesn't help that Nick Castellanos and Victor Martinez both publicly, crucified Comerica Park and said how much they hated playing in it. So you can always use the players to back you on that. But I do think it works the other way too, where the Tigers benefit sometimes from Comerica National Park and all of the real estate out there in the outfield. But tonight was all about Keider Montero, all about the bullpen. They're both our studs tonight for how well they pitched and offensively do just enough to win the game. And hey, when you're winning and you're stringing together victory after victory after victory, it's almost feels like nights like tonight are the games you win, as opposed to those close games the Tigers were losing in the midst of that difficult stretch. So baseball is a weird game. There's highs, there's lows, there's ebbs and flows. But tonight it was neat to see the Tigers come away with a win. So some other news and notes, obviously Javi Baez up with the big league team. No more Ryan Kreidler. Never thought I'd be happy to see Javi Baez come back, but it was time for Ryan Kreidler to go. Will we ever see Ryan Kreidler in the bigs again? Probably not, but hey, I don't think it's any secret or any coincidence that the Tigers just did not play well when he was starting every day at shortstop. And that was probably too harsh. He doesn't deserve that. But at the same time, if the shoe fits. And then obviously Parker Meadows, the hamstring, no word on the length of his stint on the injured list. Unfortunately, those hamstrings, I'm not a doctor, but you follow sports long enough, you know that those things can be very, very dicey and have unpredictable timelines. So let's hope that really he and Kerry Carpenter, obviously it's not a hamstring, it's a bat thing with Kerry Carpenter, but between him and Flaherty and Parker Meadows, let's hope those guys can get back sooner rather than later. But hey, 4 in a row sounds pretty nice. Tigers tomorrow against the Cleveland Guardians. And a little programming note, worth pointing out, before the whole Locked On Tigers postcast thing came to be, had a big things planned. Those that know me know I'm very involved with the Northwood University Alumni Association. We have our big golf outing coming up that I'll be tied up with the next couple of days that honors the scholarship in my late parents' name, Pat and Sherry Rietma Go Mad Scholarship. So that's where I'll be the next couple of days. And I appreciate everybody's kind wishes and warm regards with that. It's always a great event. I love putting it on. I love hosting it, but I'll be tied up with that next couple of days. So do not panic. Locked On Tigers postcast will be just fine. And then, like I said, I'm going to the game on Friday, so we will touch base here in a couple of days. But no need to panic. The Tigers are playing great baseball. I'll continue to be active on social media, but pre-established commitment with the Northwood University Pat and Sherry Rietma golf outing that I put on in the next couple of days here. So tied up with that. I appreciate everybody understanding, but no Locked On Tigers tomorrow or Thursday or Friday. But hey, this team will continue to play great baseball, and hopefully we'll have a lot of good things to discuss as we move forward here. So thanks so much for tuning in, and I appreciate everybody's kind words. Great question here, and a little food for thought here as we close it up from Gareth Ridings. Will Montero still be in the rotation once Mize comes back? That's another one I should have mentioned. And right now he's certainly making a case for it. That is for sure, depending on how the Tigers organization and coaching staff wants to handle that. Listen, I've never been a huge Casey Mize guy, but you draft him 1A like the Tigers did, or 1-1, and I don't think you close the book on him quite yet. So he probably will be back in the rotation if I had to guess. But hey, we will wait and see on that, because that's another one, hamstring injury, and it was just the 15-day IL for Casey Mize, I believe. But we'll keep you abreast on that as well, because I'm not 100% sure. But Tigers get the win in this one, 1-0 over the Cleveland Guardians. That's now 4 in a row. They'll be back at it tomorrow. Tomorrow's starters for the Tigers, it'll be Kenta Maeda, and Ben Lively will go for the Guardians. Maeda 2-5 on the season. Lively 8-4 with a 3.14 ERA. We all know Maeda's ERA. Not good at 6.71. All right, have a wonderful evening, everybody. Go Tigers, 4 wins in a row. That sounds pretty good. As always, make sure you subscribe to Locked On Sports Detroit. Give Locked On Tigers a listen with Scott Bentley, as always, and we will continue to follow this fun baseball team. No Locked On Tigers next postcast next couple of days, but we'll be with you following that. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful evening, and talk to you next time on Locked On Tigers Postcast.